Really quick before we get into the episode today, make sure you head on over to Etsy and check out Thrill of Possibility deck boxes. They'll be linked down below. They're a member of my in-person pod, really cool guy, and they 3D print deck boxes and have the files for the deck boxes if you want to 3D print them yourselves. If you're in the market for a playmat, head on over to jankmats.com. Use code NERDSNACHOS at checkout for 10% off. If you're in the market for an energy blend or hydration blend, head on over to w.gg. Use code NACHOS at checkout for 10% off. And if you're in the market for coffee, if you want your caffeine the old-fashioned way, head on over to fixcoffeebrand.com and use code NERDS and NACHOS, all one word, for 15% off at checkout. Every single one of those goes to help out the show, helps us get better quality cameras and recording equipment and all that fun stuff. So head on over there, check out all those people out. All right, let's get into it. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Nerds and Nachos. It is yet again another one-ship week. How's y'all week's been? Mine has been an adventure, let's just say that. So my heat pump is still not operating the best, I guess is the way to say that. We had a maintenance tech come out and work on the heat pump Friday, and he just kind of left in the middle of it. It was a whole thing. So we had someone else come back out today and recharge the unit and everything, and then not like 2 hours after he left, the fucking thing started freezing again. So no idea what to do. I have submitted yet another maintenance ticket to see what can be done about this unholy thing. I am currently sitting waiting for it to defrost while I'm in the studio. It's very cold. I'm right under the vent. The exhaust fan's on so that it melts the ice quicker, and I'm very cold. So that's my week and today. Outside of that, magic news, we got the BNR announcement for Commander. Biorhythm and Lutri have been unbanned. I mean, yeah, they could be banned. Lutri's not like as Lutri is very powerful. It is more powerful as a companion than it is as anything in the 99. I do think he benefits more from either being the commander or being in like a Grixis deck being in a Grixis deck, because you have the ability to go find him and have the opportunity to like always see him in a game if you can tutor for him. And that makes him very powerful. I personally put him in Azula. Azula Grixis, obviously, and really wants to copy spells. So I said it in a reel earlier today, just to give it away that I'm recording this on a Monday. What is better than 2 Exsanguinates? 3 Exsanguinates. And you know what? You can't beat it, really. You can't beat it. Yeah, so that was the magic news. I know a lot of people were speculating that Crypt, Jeweled Lotus were going to come off. I don't think those will come off for a long time, and I think it's time that we stop advocating for those cards to come off. This isn't even what I wanted to talk about this week, but we'll get into that in a little bit. I don't think that we should advocate for those cards to come off the ban list. Yes, they're powerful. Yes, they're good. Yes, Jeweled Lotus was created for Commander. The issue is the backlash from the community when those cards were banned was so strong and disruptive and honestly just heinous. Those cards should stay on the ban list, if only truly for spite. Not really, I mean, not spite, but like to make sure that the Magic community knows this type of behavior, this bad behavior, will not be rewarded by these coming off just because these people are no longer in control. That aside, I'll step off my little soapbox now. That aside, what am I talking about this week? I'm talking about snowball decks. Fitting that it's February, smack in the middle of winter, and I'm talking about snowball decks. What exactly is a snowball deck? Well, it's a deck that it takes a while to get going, but once it does, it is almost impossible to stop. It picks up speed. It snowballs more and more and rolls down that hill. I keep losing to snowball decks. I'll level with you. I keep losing to them. If I'm on Arena, I'm in person. If I run into a snowballing dragon deck or some other type of deck where once they are going, it's nigh impossible to stop them, I'm done. I can't do anything. There's nothing you can do to stop them other than try and reset the board. Or you can take care of them faster than they can snowball out. But that's kind of where the problem, I think, lies with this, is if you only take that one deck out, you are now the problem. And that is kind of, I think, the crux of the issue. I have a deck. There are multiple dragon decks in my in-person pod, and all of them are like this. They will snowball, pick up steam, and then once they are going, it is almost impossible to stop them. I've also run into this in Arena and elsewhere. Like once these decks start going, they are nearly impossible to stop from going. And so what you have to do, there are two schools of thought on it of you can try and slow them down and try and push them out longer and longer so that other people can try to deal with them, or you yourself can deal with them faster, then they can spit out all of these dragons or all of these pieces that they need to push and win the game. Here's the issue. And like I said, the issue is once you do that, you are now the target, and now everyone at the table is going against you, even the snowballing player, when you are trying to take care of them because you know they're going to be a threat. I mean, truthfully, this is just a rehash of the video that I made, or not the video, but the episode that I made about threat in the future versus threat on board, and trying to like toe the line between the two of those. So from my real life examples, the decks that I have that can withstand these, that can stand up to these types of decks, are few and far between. It's not, as someone who like refers to themselves as a little bit of a Timmy, I have been going very combo-y lately, and so really it is Kennen. Kennen's one of my only ways that I can deal with these snowbally decks because he's very explosive and can explode and cast very large game-ending cards as early as turn 4 or 5. The issue is that's kind of really telegraphed. When I am playing a land, playing mana dorks, using Kennen, ramping out more and more and more and more to the point where I am casting these Eldrazi very, very quickly, it's very telegraphed. While what a dragon deck is going to do is incredibly telegraphed the entirety of the game, it's not so quick. I think there's always that, and this is my thought process too, and I think probably one of the reasons why I end up losing to them so often is it's the thought process of, oh, I can deal with that later. In reality, when later comes, when you get to the point where you would be dealing with it, later is too late. Dealing with them at that point, they've already won the game. It's kind of similar to the point that I made in my short form video today about biorhythm. Once you're at 8 mana in green, you're kind of already won. So biorhythm's not really going to do much for you. So what is the thing that we have to do? Where's that line that we have to toe? There is a line that you do have to try and not cross, where you are dealing with these decks so that they stop snowballing, so that you can slow them down a little bit and start whittling down their life total so that you and everyone else can not be fully oppressed once their engine goes. The way to do this is you can snowball a little bit slightly faster than them. You don't want to blow out way ahead. That's never going to work out well. Being the first person to pop off in a commander game is never the right thing to do. That's actually how you will lose unless you are popping off first in a way that will win you the game. But if you do this all slowly and sit kind of right behind the other snowball deck, and every now and again eke ahead of them, just slightly ahead, by swordsing one of their creatures or completely negating something that they're doing, getting rid of their combo pieces, getting rid of the things that allow them to keep going and keep building. Ways to slow them down will help you out and help you come up with ways to actually deal with this later, and have later be a point that later's not too late. What are some examples that we can do? One of the decks that I personally have that deals okay with dragons depends on how well it performs, is a High Perfect Morcant. I did finally get her built. And that is when you pair High Perfect Morcant, and she is 2, a black and a green, for a legendary elf noble, whenever High Perfect Morcant or another elf enters the battlefield, Each opponent blights 1, and then you can tap 3 untapped elves and proliferate. So what you want to do is pair her with Lisalana Huntsmaster. Lisalana Huntsmaster's 2 and 2 green. Whenever you cast an elf spell, make a 1/1 elf warrior. So every elf becomes 2 elves. So every blight 1 becomes blight 1 and blight 1. 2 instances of blight 1. So you start being able to whittle down these creatures so that they're smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And if they are indestructible, well, now you have a way around this because you're reducing their toughness to 0 and forcing them to be sacrificed rather than trying to destroy them. High Perfect Morcant does also have the issue of it's very reliant on those cards to deal with that deck. It's also reliant on the fact that you're going to draw the right mana, you're going to draw the right cards, you're going to continually draw elves. While my build has somewhere in the realm of, I want to say like 30 or 40 elves. I could be wrong. I could be fully wrong. I'm looking it up now. But she has 37 creatures, and I think about 6 of those are not elves. So High Perfect Morcant, at least my build, has 37 creatures and 5 of them are non-elves. So I have 32 elves roughly that I'm looking for. Not counting anything else that's in this deck of like sorceries and instants and artifacts and my enchantments and lands. So there are fully ways that I don't draw what I need or see the things that I need. And that's also the issue with my other deck that can handle this, which is Kennen, which is Eldrazi, and that one has 2 issues. Number 1, very reliant on the Eldrazi if I'm drawing a Titan or if I'm drawing something large enough to be able to pressure these decks. But number 2, it also snowballs way faster. Like I've said, it snowballs somewhere around turn 4 or 5 rather than snowballing around like turn 6 to 8. And that can put a really big target on your back. It can also just put a big target on your back, the fact that you're playing Kennen or one of these other really well-known commanders that are going to be a large issue for people. So you have to toe that line, and I think something more along the line of High Perfect Morcant for you could help work around that, where you're still very much going to snowball. I mean, it's an elf ball deck. You want to play elves. You want your elves to benefit from elves. You want these things to happen, but you can sandbag. You can slow play. You can make sure that the value that you're getting outpaces the other deck slightly so that you don't end up with the target on your back, but also when it's time to deal with that deck, it's not at a point where it is too late, where you cannot do anything and you are required to either fully reset the board, which the issue against, let's say, a dragon deck, or even to vilify my own Kennen, is those decks will have the mana to recast everything, and they'll have the mana to recast it very easily. So if you wipe out just the creatures on the board, you're not really handling all of the issues, and you're just going to be seeing all of this stuff all over again. So you need to have ways to get around that as well. No, I'm not saying play MLD. I know I have some people in my in-person play group that are watching this and are going to start saying that I'm playing MLD. I'm not. I didn't put Living Plane in Morcant yet. I'm thinking about it, but I haven't done it yet anyway. If you have a way to slow the resource denial, yes, you can play more stacks. Definitely play more stacks. That will help slow these snowball decks down and allow you your chance to get around them, to eke past them, to edge them out just slightly so that you are getting out ahead of them and getting out ahead of everyone else to win the game, but not at a pace that's going to make you the largest target there. I think the main point of dealing with a snowball deck and honestly just playing casual commander is to be in second place until you're winning, or second or third place until you're winning. You don't want to be in fourth. You don't want to be at a point where you can't come back or it is impossible for you to overcome the advantage and damage engines that are on your opponent's boards. But you also don't want to be the first person to pop off so that everyone else uses all of their interaction and all of their pieces of removal to deal with you, because then the person who's been just slightly behind doesn't have quite the scary board state that you have is going to be able to come in and swoop in and push for the win. But there is always that temptation to not want to stay in second, especially when you are sitting down across from these decks. For me, the example is dragon decks. They are my weakness. They have always been my weakness ever since I've been playing dragons and fucking slivers, but I don't see slivers that often anymore, or really ever. And so dragons are kind of the best example that I personally have outside of a deck that I built myself, which is Cannon. You sit down with these decks and understand that this is going to be a problem sooner than you think, and a much bigger problem than anyone else at the table really is giving it credit for. And so you don't want to sandbag, you don't want to wait and hold back and just let the person get all of the interaction pieces, get all of the things that are going to put them behind, and then you can push. It's much more tempting, especially if you're slightly competitive in nature, to want to try and go for the win first. Try and push as hard as you can. I totally get that. That is it's how I build decks. They want to go fast, they want to win fast. And if they are the arch enemy, they want to push through being the arch enemy and still be able to win. The issue is, unless it's something like Ishtola or one of the other fucking Ishtola is the only one that comes to my mind. Unless it's something that's very, very resilient, when you take out all of those things, and when you're playing something resilient, you can withstand all these interaction pieces. If not, you're going to take all these interaction pieces first instead of the person playing the deck that you're worried about, and then they're going to push forward because you were pushing so hard to take it to make sure that deck wasn't a threat later, that now you're the threat and you're gone, or at a point where it's impossible for you to push back and come back. And so they're going to push as hard as they can and go for the win. At no point do I think that these decks are inherently impossible to beat, nor do I think that, like, I mean, playing a snowball deck is fun. Should I do it? I've talked about Kinnan all the time. It's super fun. They're really fun decks to play, but damn, do I keep losing to them. They're fun to play against because it's also fun to watch them go off and watch them do everything that they're supposed to do. But again, damn, do I keep losing to them. And I want to be able to take my own advice and slow myself down and work in a way that doesn't put me so far ahead, eating all of this removal and all of these like all the targeted removal spells, all the board wipe spells, all of these resource denials. I don't want to be eating all of those spells just for the person sitting next to or across from me be able to push through all of that with their overwhelming value and come in and sweep through and take the game. That's not what I want to do. And I think personally I need to work on playing in second and pushing for first rather than trying to out snowball a snowball. But that does it for me today, y'all. Thank you so much for watching over here on YouTube and listening on all of the audio only platforms. If you want to support the show over here on YouTube, give us a like and a subscribe after you've watched the video. It just lets the algorithm know that you want to see more of me, and it lets also lets the algorithm know that other people who like this type of content will like this content. If you're over on Spotify, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, if you leave us a 5-star review after your listen, it helps the algorithm push us out to other people. It lets them know that others who like Magic the Gathering podcast will like this one as well. If you want to support the show financially, you can do so over on Patreon. Patreon, we have tiers from $1 all the way up to $100. I personally say if you want to try it out to the $5 tier for 1 month, you get a zine sent directly to you. It is all hand-drawn, all handmade, absolutely no AI used in the construction or generation of the art whatsoever. I mean, it's all hand-done on paper, and it's really cool. It's a fun little piece of physical media that you get to have and carry around, and they're all numbered. I don't repeat anything. If you wanted to support us a little bit more, $10 and above gets you it gets you the zine, but it also gets you a quarterly set of proxies sent directly to your door. I designed them. It's all based off of cards that I like or a plan that I already have had, and I send them directly to you once they're printed. All right, thank you guys so much for listening and for watching, and I will see you all next week.